Welcome to Dead Rising Deluxe Remake. Now if you're a zombie fan like me, you probably put hundreds of hours into the original game or its sequels, and maybe also like me, there was a certain achievement stopping you from getting 100% in the game, but enough about that. Welcome to Remake, a town with 53,594 not so friendly locals. We follow Frank West as he survives in the Willamette Parkview Mall while trying to uncover the secrets behind the outbreak, all the while dealing with survivors, psychos, zombies and more. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster has 51 trophies with 45 bronze, 2 silver, 3 gold and that coveted platinum that only 5.5% of players have managed to achieve. We will be playing through the game multiple times, taking on a multitude of challenges, their endings, and of course the dreaded 7-day survivor that thankfully has been updated to be a lot easier, but only time will tell with that. So, with all that information out of the way, let's platinum Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. We start with a new cutscene that you've just seen, and after their bleak fate we move back into the classic Frank West cutscene too. Flying over Willamette, taking photos of the army, the rioters, and some other stuff. I get the trophy photojournalist with the worst photo you've ever seen. However, I do redeem myself here thanks to this photo, where you can actually see a zombie infected by a queen before they are even introduced in game, which I thought was a cool Easter egg. After that minigame and doing the most heroic jump I can, we land on the Willamette rooftop, beginning my first playthrough of Dead Rising, after talking to Carlito of course. But once we step inside, we earn our second trophy, Welcome to Hell, for entering the mall. To this day, I still like how they introduce zombies in this game, with someone just pointing out the obvious about what else could they possibly be. But enough about the cutscenes. I find myself a nice PP sticker jolting me all the way up to level 5, and thanks to everyone present, I even earned the portraiture trophy for photographing 10 survivors. Now here's a fun fact for you. Madonna actually made an appearance in the Dead Rising Chop Till You Drop game as an enemy type. Also, as a small side note, I remember when I first played this game, I killed every zombie in this area. And I know it's about the gameplay, but it really bothered me that Frank couldn't just close the door again. But this part goes as it always does. Everyone dies, Frank survives, and we just move on with our lives. Like we didn't just see 10 different people get eaten. But hey, he's covered wars, you know. This is nothing to Frank. Making it outside, we meet our first 2 savable survivors, and after a touching reunion, we return them to the shelter and get a huge chunk of XP. And might I just say, adding the ramp was a huge improvement over what the OG had. No more making them line up to get to the ledge one at a time. One scared Jesse later and Frank's catchphrase in my hand, I can finally tell you what I'm planning for my first playthrough. It's the 53,594 zombie trophy. Yes, you heard it right here folks, my first playthrough will be to run over zombies till I get sick and tired of the game, because what better way to introduce myself into Willamette than going for the second hardest trophy available, to me at least. I did everything else in the OG game except for this and 7-day survivor, as I died on day 6 and never went back to it. During my time underground looking for the maintenance key, I get the road rage trophy at 669, nice, zombies killed for running over 500 of them, earning a new costume, which was probably a thing in the OG, but never fully mentioned. Also, before you say, I know I need this key on every playthrough, it just makes saving easier for me. Not long after that, we get the Zombie Hunter trophy for 1,000 killed, and we are officially 1.87% of the way there. Woohoo! This is going to take forever, isn't it? At 2,000 zombies, we are now level 15, but I can't gauge how that works since our first 5 came from our giant PP photos. In my slight boredom, I decided to check out the different tabs, and to my surprise, came with happiness, as not only do the survivors have a timetable for when they spawn, now you even get a tracker for all of your PP stickers, making these collectibles a lot easier on my mind. Which, thanks to knowing about the PP stickers, I hunted down each of the truck PP stickers getting me to level 16, and after going into the fridge, I got the PP photo trophy for taking such fantastic photos of RPP. Returning to the mall for my first save in a while, I met up with Kent, who I didn't listen to, and accidentally got the free 4 trophy because I just wanted to get away from him. And with my newfound confidence thanks to just recently saving, I fought and beaten the prisoners outside, mainly for their heavy machine gun, which I used very liberally, earning the bullet point trophy for shooting 300 bullets and carjacker for stealing their vehicle. I also made sure to pick up the stuntman in the worst jump possible, but hey, a trophy is a trophy, so I'll take it. Heading back to the safe house at night was mainly to unlock the queen bees, making it a little easier on my zombie killing in the long run in case my car ever breaks. And in my second bout of boredom, I was looking around for a new costume, accidentally unlocking the sharp dresser trophy for 5 different costumes. Which, thanks to this, I know it actually means different items, as I'm 99% sure that shoes don't count as a full costume. And before returning to my zombie killing, I made sure to get the group photo trophy for getting 50 zombies together in one photo, but now, back we go. After a little while, I am now at 10,000 zombie kills, which is 18.65% of the way there, through this 53,594,000 zombies. And I'm starting to remember why I never tried this. We have now reached the halfway point of leveling at 25, and stat wise it isn't looking too bad. Speed is doing well and so is attack. Then again, this won't really matter in the long run, as I see us possibly being 50 before finishing all of these zombie kills and ending day 1 of me grinding this. 25,000 zombies down, now up to level 34, and Brad's mission has failed, although it doesn't show it. The other cases are still appearing, but I realised that I have to visit them to know about the survivors, and I'm not doing that. I have zombies to kill. During my next bit of boredom, I looked through the challenges to see what I could do and found Zombie Road. So being the generous man that I am, I gave away my bare feet for free, but only for 10 meters. After that, you have to subscribe to the channel if you want more of it. This time, I wanted to take a trip around the mall, and amazingly, the gun store owner was still alive. So after an intense shotgun battle and meeting his end, I earned the self-defense trophy as my reward, and that is what he gets for not sharing his weapons. And finally, after 2 in-game days, we finally earned the Zombie Annihilator trophy for defeating the entire population of Willamette, clearing a goal of mine from nearly 20 years ago. I would cry if I wasn't so numbed from driving a truck back and forth for hours. But I still have a day left, an entire 24 hours before I get picked up from the heliport. So let's have some more fun, shall we? Heading through the supermarket, I pick up anything and everything I can and head back to Paradise Plaza to mix and match these items into a blender, creating different types of juice, which went about as expected. However, that is 3 of the 7 drinks down, so all I have to do is go hunting for more items again. That we got from Jill's Sandwiches, and heading into the cinema we create another of the 3 drinks, leaving just Energizer to make, and thanks to me robbing the cinema, I actually found the last 2 ingredients, earning me the Juice Freak trophy. Now for my next hunt, PP stickers. I have already gathered a few, but I needed Brad's help opening up the mall so I can freely roam each area. And after a little lying to Brad, we fight Carlito and help Brad complete case 1, and I got myself a nice little pink suit too. But then I realised that the last 3 I would need to get are from being kidnapped by the psychos and the vent at the safe house that I think I already missed out on because I wasn't doing any of the scoops. Instead, I just played golf on the roof and got the nice shot trophy. This was also where I learned that the PP stickers have the area where they are located on them. Now that I don't have a real goal, I did a few of the secondary stuff, picking up Raining Zombies, Item Smasher, Costume Party, Strike and Clothes Horse. So, with nothing else to do, literally nothing else to do, I speed up time a little to just before 12 PM and leave Willamette after just killing a lot of zombies, none the wiser as to how any of this got started, leaving the world to die to the zombie onslaught. On the brighter side, I did earn 3-day survivor and max level, so I say that's a fair trade. And with that, we end our zombie killing playthrough and can begin the main story / saving all the survivors playthrough. I also got the never give up trophy when I restarted for the second campaign, but I wasn't recording and forgot to get the footage. During this second playthrough, I will be trying to do a perfect run for both the true ending and the Saint trophy for saving 50 survivors. There will be a moment when I have to deviate from what I am doing to focus on the Frank the Pimp trophy, so hopefully this will be easier as I will be following a guide for that, which I will let you know about when we get there. We begin the same as always, saving Natalie and Jeff from the rooftops, bringing our survivor count to 2. I won't be counting Jesse, Brad or Otis until the end of the game. Speedrunning Carlos, we also make sure to snap a picture of Brad to go towards the trophy for full set and census taker. After case 1-3, I head upstairs to find Bill, adding him to our roster, making him the 3rd survivor, and upon returning him, we get told our next case will be at 6 AM, so off we go saving people instead. Our next 2 survivors are Burr and AA1, who need a little persuading to join us, and once they do, we wait a little till 5 PM to get our 3rd survivor, Leah, who lost her child to the zombies, but now with our trio, we are up to 6 people saved. Going outside at night, we save Sophie from the convicts, bringing us up to 7 survivors, and they still have one of the best boss themes in this game. Speeding up time to 9 PM, we meet Adam, our first psychopath of this playthrough, who, after a quick snap, we make even quicker work of, saving Greg in the process and unlocking both the Mall Worker trophy and a shortcut back to Paradise Plaza, where we can speed up time to 10 PM to return and save these 2 Japanese tourists, bringing our count up to 10 people saved. And now a little story update. We get told that thanks to our helicopter we can work together with Brad and Jesse. However, that doesn't mean I can talk about everything that happens in the mall, which, if you know about the second game, we do actually follow through on that promise. But with that, we have one more person to rescue in the North Plaza, and that is David, who after offering a shoulder to, we now have 11 people saved, bringing an end to a perfect day 1 in Willamette. Now this is where we are going to be a little different. I will be deviating from the campaign to go for the Frank the Pimp trophy, and here is what we need to do. At 7 AM, which I accidentally skipped past a little, we neutralise the pair of lovers as we need the mission space free. At 8 AM, we go after the machete man, killing him and neutralising all of his hostages. The next mission down is the coward, and you guessed it, we neutralise them, and after him is the restaurant man, who won't be getting his final meal. Now, we did all of that build up because Dead Rising has an 8 survivor limit on who can spawn in the game, and since Frank the Pimp needs 8 people, some of them just don't make the cut, but now we can finally begin. Pamela and Heather both spawn in Paradise Plaza, where we just neutralise the restaurant man. Waiting until 12 PM gets us the above the law mission, but we need to wait another hour till 1 PM so we can go to Wonderland Plaza, as there will be Sally and her boyfriend, one of which we do not need. Sorry Nick, it's for the trophy. Now, before we head over to the above the law mission, unfortunately I took the shortcut back, causing the cultists to be spawned, and if I messed up here I would have to do all of this build up again. But it wasn't so bad. Adding Jennifer to our party, we now have 4 girls, and we can head over to above the law, where Joe is keeping our final 4. And upon arriving I can see the error of my ways, as 3 of the girls are nearly dead. So thankfully, by keeping Joe on me, I managed to neutralise her, save the girls, getting both the Frank the Pimp trophy and tour guide for having 8 female survivors at once and having 8 survivors at once. Now, we can go back to the main game, but I realised if I want the outfits, I'd have to start a new game, which I totally did because I want the challenges completed and I do want the suits. During my rerun of day 1, I managed to get a 10,000 PP photo, earning the Artiste trophy, and a little later on I also got Marathon Runner for running 26.2 miles on foot. And now we are in day 2. Like we start by killing Steve, as it was his store, but I wanted the store to myself so I can vandalise it, including not cleaning up aisle 6. We also get told this is all our fault for ruining Santa Cabeza, but I've never even been there, so whatever I guess. It does end on a good note though, because after we photograph old Steve here, we get the psycho photo for photographing 4 different psychos. Now that case 2 is out of the way, it's time to save more people. At 7 AM, we meet the lovers, and whatever you do, do not give Ross a gun, as he will end himself, and his wife Tonya will become unavailable to save. But with them 2, our survivor count is now up to 13. Our survivor count is now up to 13. 8 AM is Cliff again, and after beating him, I realise he made a Star Wars reference, but it doesn't matter. We rescue his prisoners, adding Rich, Josh and Barbara to our roster, and that is 15 saved. 9 AM and it's the coward's time again. To get him to follow us, I used a bucket, but nearly anything can jolt him awake. And if you remember at this time, we also have Heather and Pamela from our Frank the Pimp days, bringing us up to 18 survivors saved. 11 AM and we are off to rescue the restaurant man by giving him some food, and then he happily follows us back to the safe house to cause problems later on. Oh, and if you don't have one already, snap a PP picture of him for the outtake challenge at 12 PM. Which, after giving Kent his photo, we get a challenge for tomorrow at noon, which we need to arrive exactly at 12 or just before it triggers, otherwise we can't save a survivor. But now we can go and do above the law again, but this time we are saving everyone early, which means no health losses here. And we aren't finished yet. Wait until 1 PM, we'll spawn the cultists like last time, so after we beat them, we rescue Jennifer and bring these 6 survivors back to base, bringing our total up to 24. I also did get myself caught by the cultists, as I had some free time and I needed the 2 PP stickers from them. That brings us up to 99 out of 100, which coincidentally is the same amount we need for the no thank you trophy. It's now 3 PM, so heading into Wonderland Plaza, we can pick up Nick and Sally, who will be going on a little adventure with us, as I need to go find Isabella, who of course we defeat after a little bike boss fight, and Frank, being the ladies man that he is, shows off that he's covered wars, you know, convincing Isabella to share her story about the zombies being created in Santa Cabeza, and Carlito being the one who released them later on at midnight. So now we are free to go saving more people again, which we do with Nick and Sally, raising our count to 26, and it is also now 5 PM where we get quite a few missions. Starting with the 3 missions in Entrance Plaza and a triple boss fight, which does have an Easter egg. If you kill the dad and son, leaving Thomas alive, he gives up and loses the world to fight, which wasn't actually in the original game. So, after dealing with the snipers, we can do the mission Antique Lover and have a lengthy discussion with Floyd about antiques, which makes him join us. The next one we do is the woman who didn't make it, and after Jolie joins us, we can lead her to a shop on the 2nd floor, collecting Wayne along the way, and after we do make it there, Rachel will join up with us, bringing our survivor count to 31 and getting the census taker trophy. At 7 PM, Otis will call us about a food problem caused by Ronald, which can easily be resolved by grabbing any type of food item and feeding him, stopping mutiny number 1. Which, if you don't stop him, all the survivors in his room will follow him out of the shelter, which is honestly the stupidest thing I've ever seen. You know you're safe, you know you're alive, but you're risking your life for a packet of crisps. Heading outside, we can finally take a picture of an event, earning the PP Collector trophy, which I saved as some survivors later on want it as proof of the safe house. and now we can wait till midnight to continue the next story mission. But for all intents and purposes, this ends a perfect day 2. Day 3 starts at midnight with an injured Isabella and our new survivor Kindle, who joins us with no problems, for now at least. So after escorting them two back, we brave our way to the cinema to put a stop to these cultists once and for all, killing Sean and adding Cheryl, Beth, Ray, Mitchell and Nathan to our group, bringing the survivor count to 37. And thanks to Sean's brainwashing book, the last few survivors will not fear death and will be even better at survival. A brilliant book, way too late in the game in my opinion. At 2 AM we get a request from Floyd for some wine, which can be found in the food court. Luckily I already had some, and with that request 1 is fulfilled. 3 AM hits different in the Willamette Mall as we learn it was actually the USA who created the zombie virus, using Santa Cabeza as a testing site, and somehow Dr. Barnaby turned into a very agile zombie. However, Frank I've Covered Wars You Know West saves the day again. And I also got this hilarious clip of Frank watching himself through his own camera. Our next case is at 11 AM. However, our next survivors are right here, right now, as we make our way to the food court, picking up Gil by threatening to leave him here to the zombies, and after his drunken stupor, we make our way to the gun shop, and these are the people who wanted the event photo. So I hope you saved it like I did. And with that, we add Jonathan, Alyssa and Brett to our party, and with bringing these 4 back, we take our survivor count to 41, ever inching closer to the Saint trophy. It's now 5 AM and the long-haired punk mission has started in the Wonderland Plaza. So after dealing with him, not killing him, dealing with him, the idiot sets himself on fire and we have to use the conveniently placed fire extinguisher to save his life, making him the only psycho-turned survivor in the game. And after rescuing his hostages, we add Paul, Mindy and Debbie to our group, bringing the survivor count to 44. Fast forwarding, it is now 8 AM and we have 2 more survivors to rescue from the Wonderland Plaza, with Suzanne on the football and Leroy who appears to be injured. What by low is someone else's problem as we bring our survivor count to 46. It is now 11 AM and Carlito decides the best thing to do is to blow up the mall as a way to spread the zombie virus, but we have time and can wait till 12 PM instead, which we do by saving Todd from a now psychopath Ken who threw a hissy fit for ruining his perfect shot, earning us the trophy Punisher for defeating 10 psychopaths. We also get the trophy Transmissionary for answering 30 of Otis's calls and get the mission A Woman in Despair, which, after convincing her about Isabella's knowledge on the zombie bites, we return to the safe house, bringing our survivor count to 48, and also stopping Kindle's mutiny for bringing all the survivors to hotwire some cars and escape. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do we get 50 survivors when we have rescued everyone? Well, now I will be counting Otis among the survivors and also Isabella, bringing us up to 50, hopefully. This happens in overtime mode though, and we won't see the trophy until we have beaten the game, so fingers crossed. Going to the underground, we have a failed boss fight with a truck and some bomb defusal. Frank then saves the day again, but it does come at a price. Brad loses his fight against Carlito and is left to the zombie horde. So after we head back down into the tunnels, we find Brad has been torn apart by the zombies, barely clinging to life. And after he passes, he zombifies almost immediately, which we can get the Snuff Shot B trophy for encountering his zombified self. And I put him to rest permanently so he doesn't have to wander around as a zombie any longer than he already has. Now, We are done with all survivor escorts, and I can give you the cliff notes for the remainder of a perfect day 3. 5 PM hits and we get a small story update. Carlito has a computer which we can access in his hideout. Leaving the roof, Otis gives us a call about Paul, who wants us to keep our mouth shut about his fiery ways in exchange for infinite Molotovs. Continuing the story, we see that Carlito has been Carlito-napped by a butcher underground, and thanks to our maintenance key, getting there was quite simple. Now this butcher boy is looking a little different from his counterpart, but the insanity still remains the same, calling Carlito fresh meat. Hearing that, we beat up Larry, putting him in the meat grinder and rescuing the nearly dead Carlito, who we then promise that we will tell his story to the world so the crimes of the government don't go unpunished. He also gets the last laugh, saying it's not over, and gives us his pendant for his sister before passing away. We aren't done just yet though, as at 7 PM Simone wants us to bring us a handgun just in case she turns, although she has already been treated for the bite, which is a fun hint into Isabella knowing about how the zombie virus works and her connection to Dr. Barnaby. At 8 PM we get a call from Cheryl, who wants us to do a photo shoot for her so she can be remembered for her beauty, which Frank happily agrees to, and after a few poses we finish the final request of the survivors and have nothing more but the main story left. Also, if you haven't already photographed every single survivor here for their respective trophies, you might as well do it now, as you don't get another chance after this. Also, don't forget to check your notebook to get the full set trophy, something I almost forgot to do myself. Getting into Carlito's laptop, we get told by Isabella that Carlito didn't want to do any of this, but he did, so what's up with that? And with this, we bring a perfect day 3 and all of the cases to a close. It's the final day and we start that by Jessica calling headquarters, which doesn't go to plan as they decided to ignore Willamette and kill everyone who's in the mall, which is great news for us as we have a few trophies associated with these people, not so much for the zombies or whoever else is roaming about not in our safe house. Now we are treated to this cutscene of the government talking to Jessica, who has other plans, making a meal out of the pair. And from now on, the special ops will roam about the mall because it has struck midnight. On my way back to Jessica, we killed 10 of the special ops, earning the legendary soldier trophy, and I learned that you need to get there before midnight, causing me to reload my save. Heading inside, we now see the zombified Jessie for ourselves, earning the Snuff Shot J trophy, and a note from Otis saying that he saved everyone in the safe house, being the second hero of our story, and confirming 49 of our 50 survivors to be safe, with just me and Isabella being the last 2. Midnight again, but now we have a new goal, killing 30 special ops barehanded, which isn't too bad overall, as all of our zombie slaying skills can also be used on them, including disembowel, which after psychologically and physically torturing the special forces, we get the Karate Champ trophy. Heading outside, we will be greeted by a helicopter, no, not ours, the military's, and we need to fight it, earning ourselves the helicopter trophy for successfully repelling it. Think of them as the prisoners of this section, as they will leave but they will also come back. And being the smart man that I am, I completely forgot about the rocket launcher until just now, believing it is something that can only be used in overtime, which is not the case. Combining the Mega Buster toy and fire extinguishers with the book Blender manual, we can make our own, and now I can get started on killing 100 enemies with them. Which wasn't too bad, collecting quite a few underground, and after crafting some more we get the Rampage trophy, for our efforts. With nothing else to do, I just started skipping time to wait for the helicopter, getting this cutscene of the special ops fully clearing up the mall and the face of their boss. So now we wait for our rescue, which of course doesn't go to plan, with Ed somehow not noticing a zombie in his helicopter before or during his flight. How it got there we will never know, but with all hope lost, Frank succumbs to the dread of being left stranded, and that ends the story of Dead Rising, earning us the overtime mode trophy for arriving at the helipad at noon, with all cases finished, and the Humanist trophy for getting 10 survivors out of the mall, and man am I sweating, hoping the Saint trophy does pop at the end of overtime. But with this, we had a perfect day 4. It's overtime time, baby. You think Frank would die from that? Not on your life. He does get infected, however, but on a lucky note, Frank has a high resistance to the virus, though he doesn't seem to think that's luck. And with Isabella's help, we can synthesize a suppressant using the Queen's, again alluding to her work with the virus. The game from now is basically on rails, so I will just give you the footnotes. We have plenty of things to do that are scattered around the entire mall, which, thanks to the military, is completely free of zombies. So besides a few snags along the way with them shooting us, I managed to grab everything, including a few queens, thanks to the nectar drink. We can also grab a small cutscene of where the helicopter crashed, revealing what looks to be a separate underground tunnel full of the undead. Maybe this is where they were coming from all this time. There is also another small cutscene with Isabella that gives the first hints at Dead Rising 3, but just like the original, Nick Ramos' name doesn't appear, which honestly I see as something Carlito would do. 50 fake children to cover for the 50 real children who were infected that he put all around America. Pure in hand, we can begin the real ending of Dead Rising, escaping Willamette together with Isabella, which goes quite well. A simple walk through a herd of zombies using the repellent Isabella made, and then a car chase against a tank, which even now is still a cool moment in the game, and still extremely easy to beat. We then get an honest to god hand-to-hand boss fight, which I actually died to, but second time's the charm, and we managed to get the beat down on Brock, who after getting absolutely destroyed, falls into the zombies, and we end Dead Rising with Frank screaming to the heavens. And for finishing overtime mode, we earn the Infinity Mode trophy for getting the true ending, and thankfully we also get the Saint trophy for rescuing 50 survivors. And that is the true game of Dead Rising. But wait, there's more. We still aren't done, as there's one final scoop to go, and that is the 7-Day Survivor with Infinity Mode. 7-Day Survivor is actually infinitely easier than its counterpart, drastically reducing the 14 hours of gameplay down as much as you want, thanks to the fast forward mechanic. It also helps there is a suspend system in place now, as there wasn't before if you ever needed a break. I went straight into Infinity Mode right after overtime because I heard it is easier, and I wanted to test that for myself. The funny thing is, you can even select easy difficulty here too, if you don't feel like a challenge, but I chose normal, which is immediately trivialized, as I can pick up the Mega Blaster and the infinite ammo / durability butt thanks to the Saint trophy. My first priority was getting all 3 food books and some provisions, which honestly went quick. After securing all of that, I just started waiting for my health to drop to just below half before eating some food, skipping as much time as possible, and once that was done, I'd go out hunting again, finding all the survivors, all the psychopaths I can, and taking their loot for myself. Infinity Mode actually felt freeing this way, as before I knew it, I was already in day 3 of the 7 days, and I've barely done anything, even skipping all of day 2 by just picking up food items in the food court, thanks to a psycho constantly spawning there. Also, on day 3, the cultist spawn, which, as you can tell by the footage, are a fantastic source of loot. So now my troubles are reduced even more. This is also where I found out that psychos can respawn again, making me have zero worries about getting 7-day survival. Before I knew it, it's day 5 and the spec ops have arrived, which I must say immediately gave me a shock, draining a chunk of my health. But I'm not worried, I know I'll survive as I have plenty of spots to check for food. Exhausting the food court, Alfresca Plaza and North Plaza, I made my home in the cinemas, draining that too of resources and gaining the 5-day survivor trophy while I'm at it. Which means it is now day 6, so only 2 more days to go. Day 6 leading into 7 was actually the hardest part so far, as I ran out of resources and the psychos that spawned did nothing to help me out. I then resorted to another run of the mall, looking for anything and everything I could possibly find, where my prayers were answered with some milk underground, and a double psycho boss fight and a lot more loot from them, making my hunt a successful one. And with that food, it brought me another 15 hours ahead, so after one more hopefully successful hunt, I will be done with 7-day survivor and the platinum. And that is Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, an almost completely faithful remake of the original game. But if I had to be honest, I think I prefer this one more. It was a lot easier thanks to the countless little things, like the PP stickers being shown, Isabella being counted towards the Saint trophy, and especially the ability to fast forward time. If they do a remaster of the second one, I will happily play it, because this was genuinely so much fun from start to finish. And I can finally put to rest a game that took me 20 years and a remaster to platinum. So, with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, because I enjoyed recording this. I hope you enjoyed watching. And as always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and from Frank and I, goodbye, Willamette.